Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Education meeting today, Tuesday, October 14th. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would now like to turn it over to Dr. Yanni for the superintendent's report.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'd like to invite to the podium Lisa Walsh, PTA President, for a special recognition to the board.
Thank you, Dr. Yanni. In appreciation of our Board of Education, this is Board Appreciation Week, and on behalf of the Parent Council, we are presenting each member of the board with a pie. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And our student representative, Giovanna, please.
Good evening, everyone. We have a lot of fun events that have been happening and will be happening this October, and I'd love to share them with you all. Firstly, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, our school has recognized notable Hispanic figures in its classes, on displays around the building, and on Bay News Now. We've also engaged in festive projects. For example, the Middle Level Art Club has been working on a project where students can color and cut out feathers to create a colorful display. And our World Language Honor Society and International Club have created and displayed a collaborative mural in the cafeteria. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Oyster Bay has also hosted a multitude of events in honor of it. Throughout the month, students have been asked to wear pink on Tuesdays, and the Business Honor Society, World Language Honor Society, and International Club have been selling pink pins before and after school, raising money and organizing a team for the Long Island Breast Cancer Walk. Additionally, October is Dyslexia Awareness Month. Oyster Bay High School has featured famous individuals with dyslexia on Bay News Now and on a bulletin board, and wore red to raise awareness to this month. Lastly, October is Bullying Prevention Awareness Month, October 23rd being Unity Day. To commemorate this month, Oyster Bay High School will be wearing orange on Unity Day to unite against bullying and for kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. Finally, to kick off the end of October, we have our Red Ribbon Week and the beginning of Color Wars. Both will begin the week of October 27th. Various themes will be given for each day, and on Halloween, we will be hosting a costume contest. Students will earn points for their Color Wars team for participating on each day. For Red Ribbon Week, stickers will be given out to our students. We will have a dedicated Spirit Day for wearing red on Wednesday, and there will be signs around the building in commemoration of Red Ribbon Week. We will also provide the opportunity for students to participate in a red ribbon project in which they will trace and cut out their hands for a display. The project is called Hands Off Drugs and Alcohol in commemoration of Red Ribbon Week. Finally, facts about finding positive ways to manage stress will be shared each day on Bay News Now. This is all the news I have to share with you this evening. We have some very exciting things going on this month, lots of fun things, and I hope everyone has a good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanna, for your comprehensive report. I want to invite the entire community this coming Friday at 6 p.m. We have the final ribbon cutting ceremony at Vernon, so hopefully we'll see a lot of community members there. Marking the completion of the bond project that took place over the past 4 years. We are also pleased to announce that sophomore Ella Kopax and junior Krista Thomas have advanced to a semifinalist in the Association of Chinese American Physicians. This is the 8th annual science fair. The science fair is a nationwide research scientific competition in the biomedical field. Ella and Krista will complete an oral presentation of the project on October 19th at the Flushing Library. Ella's project is revolutionizing precision therapeutics, targeting hotspots, breast and ovarian cancer mutation via drug repurposing. Krista's project is co-expression network to regulate nuclei size in human breast cancer tissue cells. The 2025 Science Fair Award ceremony will take place at the Nassau County Legislative Chamber on November 12th. We wish Ella and Krista all the best on the next step and on the presentation. Great job on that. We also have Andrew Jeanette is being awarded News 12 Scholar Athlete. This award recognizes students who have demonstrated exceptional dedication, hard work, and high achievement in both the academics and athletics. So congratulations, Andrew. You truly embody the spirit of a scholar athlete. Congratulations. Financial Aid Night on October 7th, we welcome Gene Rogers, Senior Financial Aid Counselors at Malloy University, to discuss all the details of the financial aid forms, as well as differentiating all the types of financial support that are available out there. So I want to thank the Gene for coming to us and the entire guidance department for putting this presentation together. As a follow-up to safety concern raised by several community members, a formal written request was submitted for a crossing guard at the Shore Avenue gate, along with a separate signage and traffic safety request for larger, more visible one-way sign at Larrabee and Main Street by Roosevelt. The same traffic request was also submitted in writing to the town of Oyster Bay. A new sign has since been installed at Larrabee, so hopefully people will follow the sign and not go the wrong way after 2 p.m. And so we will continue to follow up on the crossing guard on Shore Avenue. And I want to, the week, like Ms. Walsh said, the week of October 13th to 17th is a National Board Recognition Week, which recognizes school board members, and in this case, Giovanna is a student member, for their commitment to our school community. Recognizing board member service should be a year-round endeavor, but designating 1 week is an opportunity to promote awareness and understanding of the important work that board members are doing to support our students. These are individuals that are not paid. They spend a lot of time working with district team and all the people working in the different schools, making a vision of empowering all students to achieve excellence, set the direction of the school, but most importantly, allowing all of us to create a safe environment for students and much more. So on behalf of the entire community and staff, and my entire team, we want to thank you for all that you do for Oyster Bay and for all the students of Oyster Bay. Thank you so much. At this point, I'd like to invite to the podium Erica Giopac, Director of Music, Fine and Performing Arts, to do a presentation and give an update on the goals.
Thank you. Well, it's October, but we are already up to quite a lot in our department. We hit the ground running, as always, starting with this summer. So thank you for letting me share these updates with you this evening. So I've broken up this presentation into 3 categories: student achievement, finance and operations, and promoting community in alignment with the Board of Education goals. So we have a lot going on in terms of student achievement in the arts. We started the school year with 2 huge accolades that I'm so proud to share. One is, for the very first time, we have a student, Anya Shade, who has been named a scholar artist in the subject of dance. This is very similar to the Newsday's scholar athlete, where they have to have a certain academic standing in the school, and they have to audition and show their artistic ability, and this is our very first one in the district, so we're so excited to see her in Newsday in the paper. We also learned in the beginning of September that we had one student selected for All-State and a second student selected as an All-State alternate. So Ari Gupta will be representing our district at All-State this year, and we're so excited to hear him play his trombone. So in terms of Bay News Now, we're rocking and rolling as usual, but one thing I wanted to share with you that's a little bit new is we have a lot more anchors than we have in previous years. We added a whole bunch, pretty much doubled our student anchors. And we added a new segment called Bay Sports, which is hosted by James Ortiz and a couple other students. So we're so happy to see that continue to grow and thrive. We also added a middle school class this year, which is a survey of broadcasting, hoping to get some of them excited about broadcasting and joining that program in high school. Of course, we're continuing with our same clubs and honor societies as we have in previous years. Most of those are off the ground and running. The honor societies are starting up soon as well. And just a shameless plug for our theater season. All tickets are on sale. So at Vernon, we have Matilda Jr. They will do a little performance for you here at the next board meeting. We have Puffs, our fall play. Many of our students involved in Puffs backstage are here tonight and on stage, and our stage manager. And then in the spring, we will do Once Upon a Mattress. If any of you are Carol Burnett fans like I am, you will love this one. It's one of my favorites. So we're so excited about those 3 shows and hope to see you there. Just continuing with our goal as a department to offer college credits to our students. We are continuing that this year. They have all been approved for the 25-26 school year. I also wanted to share a really proud moment for the AP Art students who took the AP last year. As you can see from their scores, we scored above the global average with 100% passing rate and above our local average. So really proud of the amazing work that our AP Art kids are doing. Their work is phenomenal. We really find a lot of value in partnering with local organizations and local businesses in Oyster Bay. We continue a lot of the same partnerships that we've had, like the Life Enrichment Center, the Empire State Ride, but we are starting some new ones this year that I wanted to talk about. First, at the end of last year, we developed a partnership with the Long Island Picture Frame Gallery in Oyster Bay. If you haven't been there, it's a magnificent space. They were so generous in offering a juried art show by practicing artists for our students, and we're continuing that. We have one coming up in November. We're doing a fundraiser with the Hive Market called Empty Bowls, where we're raising money for people who have food insecurity. Students are actually making physical ceramic bowls and art, and then they're going to be bidding on them. And we're doing a really cool project with the Life Enrichment Center. It's an intergenerational media project where students are going to interview people from Oyster Bay, from all walks of life, and doing a sort of a docu-series on them. So I'm especially excited for that one. Of course, we continue to bring in master artists from the outside into our department because it's really important for students to see that these are viable careers and that there are people working in these fields having amazing livings. Last year, we brought in Jessica Meyer to work with the band students. We brought in Sam Algieri, who is a News 12 meteorologist. You may recognize her. She does the weeknight meteorology report. And we have, as you can see from the bulleted list, some people already lined up to come in as master artists in the classrooms. We love taking field trips, but we don't just take them for fun, even though they are fun. They have a lot of educational value, and it's very important to expose our students to that real world connection of what's happening in the classroom and what happens outside. We're so lucky to live on Long Island, where we're so close to New York City, and even within Long Island, we have a really, really rich arts communities all around us. So some of the fun, there's so many already happening. We're going to Broadway next week, taking the kids to see Harry Potter on Broadway because the play that they're doing is based on Harry Potter. We're taking the kids to FIT in, I think, a week or 2 weeks to do a tour of the campus, an interactive tour. And we're doing our first ever overnight with the New York State Theater Educators Association. It is a statewide student theater conference. So we're going to bring delegates there where they get to work with master artists from all over, professionals in the industry, and they get to meet other kids from New York that share a passion for theater as they do. So I will be chaperoning that trip, looking forward to it as well. In terms of finance and operations, I think we all remember when the Vernon Music Suite looked like that at one point, and we know how magnificent it looks now. And we are so excited to welcome you to our ribbon cutting ceremony that's coming up at Vernon. We will have over 80 students performing from the music department within the various spaces and all sorts of exciting things. Bay News Now is going to be doing a live broadcast there, so you better watch out because you might end up on the news. So you never know. You never know. This is some new and exciting news. I decided with my department this year to lower the ticket prices for all Oyster Bay students with the valid student ID in the hopes that it will encourage more students to come to see the amazing shows that their friends are in. We also do a student matinee, kind of a preview. We do it at Vernon, and then we also do it here for the middle and high school to kind of whet their appetite and get them interested in coming and seeing what's happening on stage. And we've actually had a lot of students who have found theater that way. So hopefully this will bring us even more. We continue to use My School Bucks, which I really love. It allows us to do credit card payments for all sorts of things, so kind of reduces the handling of cash. It's just nice, clean transactions that are happening online. So that's been something we've continued with and broadened in the department. We are staying on top of all of our inventory. We use DeCapo inventory system, so we perform assessments of all the instruments. We tag them, we scan them in and out when they're going in and out. All students have loan contracts to make sure that we're, handling these very precious and expensive instruments with care. And building community, that's our favorite. That's the thing we love to do the most. These are just a small sampling of the events happening this year in our departments. We're continuing, of course, the tried and true, and I'm really proud that some of these events, the purple ones, are ones that started in my first year that are continuing and getting bigger and bigger every year. And of course, we do a lot out in the community. We don't just perform here in our 3 schools. We're participating in things like NYSMA Majors, participating in various conferences and performances in the community, like the tree lighting ceremony in town, the Teddy Roosevelt birthday celebration that our adorable second graders sing at every year. So we love keeping that school to community connection. I'm really proud of the teachers in our department because every year they say, sure, we'll take a student teacher, sure, we'll take a student observer, but I'm proud of them, but I'm also grateful because it allows us to have connections with these schools. And a lot of our students are interested in these schools, so it builds a really nice bridge to these post-secondary programs. Like and subscribe. No, just kidding. But do follow us. Actually, we're up to 800 followers, so please follow us on Instagram. And we like to stay in touch any which way. Parent Square, Syntax is amazing to work with. They help us so much make sure you know all the amazing things that the kids are up to. And I do want to give a thank you to the Open Arts Foundation. Ms. Fernandez is here tonight. Thank you for all the support you do in supplementing some of the things for our kids, helping to reduce costs for some of the trips, meals during Tech Week of the shows, so on and so forth. So thank you so much. And thank you to everyone in this room tonight, parents, Board of Ed, administration, and we'll see you soon at the next event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Geopak. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
I just wanted to comment that I'm so happy you provide so many opportunities for all of our students from middle school all the way through AP classes. And all of these extra events really add to the school culture. And it's very apparent, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of your support.
Thank you, Ms. Geopak.
Thank you.
Okay. I got to switch glasses. Okay. Now we will move on to the approval of the minutes. Motion to approve our meeting minutes as listed and attached below. Do I have a motion? A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we will move on to participation. This is on agenda items. In keeping with its philosophy of open communication and informed decision-making, the BOE welcomes input from the community. However, it is important to note that while the BOE meets in public, it is not a meeting of the public. Respectful input and behavior by each member of the community is appropriate and expected at all times and should observe the following rules at BOE meetings. The BOE will listen to comments and input from the public. Debate between members of the audience and the board members will not be permitted. The board will not address personnel or individual student matters in public. No person shall present orally or discuss in any BOE meeting charges or complaints against individual employees, directly or indirectly. The speaker shall identify themselves and confirm their residency in the district on the sign-in sheet. So signed in is Ms. Anne-Marie Longo.
Thank you. Just one question. The performances are wonderful that the kids do, and everybody loves to come and see them. Is there any way, or is it just crazy to have the Vernon performance up here? It's so hard to see. Like last year, we got it there late, and you could barely see the kids over everybody because we're all flat. I know you do a middle school one here and the high school one. But it would be nice maybe, I know the kids can't practice here, but it would be nice if the kids from Vernon could come up here so for the community to be able to see them and more people to come, because it is quite crowded on the night of the performances. So
Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah.
Look into it.
just one thing. So something else, the policies, I see that I'm glad that you're going back to first read, second read policies. I just want to go over month you had 3 policies for adoption. Now you've moved them to first read, which follows the policy. And then I've looked through the last couple of years, and it doesn't seem like I've seen that, where there's a first read and a second read on the policies. So I was a little concerned about that. I also don't quite understand policy 8440, which is a new policy for a first read tonight for field trips. This policy has been changed in the last 3 years, 5 times. I don't quite understand why, of all the things that are going on, it's this policy that gets the attention of 4 rereads. In addition, on the policy 1510 that you're talking about tonight for the Board of Education, there's various things that you're discussing. The one thing that I see that I'm a little concerned about is voting and motions. So there's a section in here where it reads, an abstention from will indicate a conflict of interest, ethical or moral dilemma unresolved by a division of questions, and other reasons for personnel. So if a board member is going to abstain, it's on page 7 of 11. You're taking it out, and you're first of all, you had a change to it last month that said that an abstention will count as a no vote. You cross that out. Unless there's a conflict of interest. Now you're putting in, it does not do that. I'm just a little concerned because I feel that there is a tremendous conflict of interest right now that stands with the Board of Education in voting, and this person can't sit and be on any votes. It's a definite conflict of interest. I'm not going any further. I'm sure you know what that is, and I'm concerned about changing this at all as a Board of Education right now when it directly relates to a board member. So I'm concerned about that as well.
Thank you.
I just wanted the board to be aware that your policy on policies currently only requires one reading when it's a policy that's being revised. Because these policies involve the board president and vice president requested that they be put on for a first reading, which is the prerogative of the board to not only have one reading. And it's my understanding that we're going to revisit your policy on policies to see if we want to always have a first and a second reading. But right now, your policy on policies does say if a policy is being revised, only one reading is required.
Thank you, Ms. Sadowski. Okay. So now we'll move on to instructional personnel. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We will now move on to non-instructional personnel items. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the non-instructional personnel items as listed in their entirety. Do we have a motion? A second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of business resolutions. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to special services. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the special services resolution as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Okay, do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to approval of new business. Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Oyster Bay East Norwich Central School District hereby approves the new business resolutions as listed in their entirety. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to thank our PTA and also an anonymous person that have made donations to the school district and in particular for our 10th grade college trip. So thank you very much for that. We now would like to move on and have a discussion regarding athletic awards.
Yes. Thank you so much. I've asked the board to discuss this item for the past several years. Since I've been here, every varsity athlete will get a plaque at the athletic banquet awards, which is at the end of the school year. Several parents have approached me with the idea of changing that tradition and give students letters at the beginning of their varsity career, and then every year they will get a pin to add it for every sport that they play. This again will be sort of a change in the practice. Talking to some of the people in the athletic department, this was done years ago. So I want to bring it up to the board because I know that some people feel very strong about the plaque. Some people feel that after several years, those plaques will go just put on the side, and they'd rather have something that they could keep it, like a letter like this one. So I just want to present it to the board and see what do you guys think?
I mean, I'd like the input of the students. They're the ones who are either receiving the plaque or the pins, and if it's something they've been looking forward to, which a plaque I doubt, but I'd still like to get their input on it and help that guide policy.
So we have done a survey in the physical education classes. A lot of the students were on the side of the plaque. So those were the athletes. But, some community members have shared the fact that those plaques, after a while, if you're a varsity athlete and you're playing 2 sports, 3 sports, you collect a lot of plaques, and then at the end they go on the side. I mean, one of the ideas would be to have a letter with the different pins, and then at the end of the year, at the senior year, to give them a plaque, so they would have both. But that's up to the board.
I think I like that idea of switching maybe to the letters and then something more significant that recognizes a senior who's played on the team at the end of the season when they're a senior.
Something more that may be a culmination of all of their...
Right, maybe a personalized recognition with similar maybe to what we have in the Athletic Hall of Fame, but for that individual to be taken home and displayed.
Listing all the teams and things they may have...
Teams, accomplishments, and maybe a picture as well.
I agree. So is the pushback on the student body that they're not going to use that lettering on something? Like, where are they going to put the lettering? What were you thinking?
Yeah, so the letter, my understanding is that they will get the letter at the beginning of their varsity once they join a varsity team, and they get a pin for every sport that they play. So if you...
Yeah, but where do they put
the letter at the end? It could be framed. It could be framed in a frame with all the pins. So that's a different option. I mean, years ago, this, I guess, was sewed to a jacket. Yeah, a sweater.
So I think the kids today probably have no idea what that might be.
Yeah.
That might have been the pushback. I'm indifferent. I think I prefer to do whatever the kids think is more valuable to them.
So I know this is a decision that obviously I don't want to recommend anything because I don't know what the sentiment is in the community. But if it's okay with the board, what I'll ask my athletic director to put some sort of committee together with parents, students, and come up with a plan and let them decide. And I will share, obviously, some of the comments that we have shared tonight. And then maybe before there is a final decision, I'll come back and I'll present to you and the community what is the final outcome, if it's okay with you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great. Thank you. opportunity for the public to be heard on non-agenda items. Ms. Anne-Marie Longo?
So I think the community, the kids want jerseys with their names on it that they can take with them. They've been raising money. I've been going to fundraisers for it. I think that every sport, every child wants a jersey with their name on it that they can keep, that they can use, and that they can take home with them. You know, a sweater, St. Dominic's gives the kids a sweater that they could do it, but, you know, I'm just saying that. I think in the community, and you can poll them, but I believe the trend is the kids want jerseys with their names on it. So that's...
Is with that meaning when they're graduating as seniors,
Well,
or each
I
year?
guess you can't have a football team with only seniors with their names on it.
Right.
Like if they're playing varsity football, they get their name on the jersey, they gotta bring it back, you know? They play it a couple of years, or basketball, or they grow. I'm sure that we could, as a community, fundraise for the kids to get jerseys in every sport with their names on it. Right. And then I still have my sons, and they've been out a long time now. And they have names on them. So, that's that. But I just have a question. So on a first read of a policy, do you not read and discuss? I thought that when you change a policy and you have a discussion, the Sunshine Law states that you should discuss this in public. I've heard no discussion in public on any of these policy changes. I know you have a policy committee that discuss what the changes should be, and then you bring them back to, not once have I heard that in discuss, and you adopted these policies tonight, yet there was no open discussion.
We didn't adopt the policies.
I know, but there was no open discussion. You didn't adopt the policies? You adopted the business meetings and wasn't the policy on there? So I've heard no open discussion about these policies and the changes to the policy. And I know that this is, as stated before.
Ms. Longo, but we're not, I know you're going back to the question, but we are not adopting the policy tonight.
Okay.
This is a first reading.
But you didn't read anything. You didn't discuss anything.
They had access to the policy when the policy was released. Yeah.
I'm just saying is that, and Mrs. Sandowski's here, but Sandowski, there's been no discussion about the changes in the policy in public under the sunshine. That's what the Sunshine Law is. There has been no discussion. In last month, you guys changed the statements that on how people, what you say when people are to talk. That should have been discussed in public. It changed between September 9th and last month's meeting. There was no discussion about that in public. We just came to a board meeting and it was changed. I don't see discussions of things that the board takes actions on and is in charge of, policies especially, that are held in public where the public, whether they're here in person or they're watching on TV, can understand what's going on. People don't access board documents. They don't access the stuff that they should and can read at. They depend on coming to meetings and having you as a Board of Education discuss these things openly so they understand what's going on in the school district, just like you did just now about the athletics, which I think was wonderful. People in this community do not understand when policies changes and there's not discussion. I understand the board reads them. The comments that the boards have amongst yourselves, and I could be mistaken, this is what my understanding is, should be done in public in the sunshine. That's what the Sunshine Law is. Not via text, not via emails, not via phone calls. But at a board meeting, every single thing that changes in this school and that you're considering, whatever you're doing has to be done at this meeting in front of everybody so everybody can understand it. I mean, if you look on YouTube, there's 200 people watching these meetings. They want to know, and they don't know what the changes are unless everybody is openly discussing it. That's all it is. You've changed things, and you did not do it in public. You just inadvertently changed statements of the board meeting, and it was not discussed in public. I've been at public board meetings. It was not discussed in public. So I'm just saying is I would like you to consider what is being said and the frustration that is being had, and to please consider to come back to discussing things in public under the sunshine so we can see what's going on, because we don't know. We just see you take action on things without discussions, just like the athletic thing, perfect discussion. It was a full discussion. People will understand, people will comment, you'll take polls. We should know what these policy changes are and why they're being made. They're policies that affect everybody in this district. You know, you've got one policy you've changed 5 times already, and people don't even know what you're changing it again for, the travel policy, where the kids can go, how far they can go. You know, just have the discussion in public. You're the Board of Education, should have the discussion in public so we know. That's all I'm asking.
Well, I would say, do you have some specific question about the policy?
Why? You don't respond.
What?
No, I want to know what
Okay,
your questions are.
That's fine, if you don't,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
fine.
just saying, I want to know
I
what
asked
your...
you if you had specific questions about the policies.
I am saying that I want to know what your discussions are about the policy.
You're making assumptions, but. if you-
I'm not making any assumption.
Okay.
The Board of Education changed 4 policies,
Do you have any
and then you
questions about it?
revised the policies again based on what I'm reading. There has been a discussion about these policies. That discussion should be had at this meeting under the Sunshine Law. So we understand what you people as the Board of Education, who are in the know more than the common person in Oyster Bay, of what is going on and why the changes are happening. It should be discussed and published so we understand what it is.
Excuse me, what? Yes.
I have a lot of questions, but it's not for me to ask the questions. It's for you guys to discuss it.
Ms. Marion.
So I just want to remind the board has a policy committee. All of the changes that the policy committee reviewed and recommended are in a red line version that is there for your review. And if you have any questions, as you saw Ms. Castrogiovanni made a motion, made a second, any discussion, it's at that time that you would have a discussion. So those policies are up for you to review. I am not aware that there has been any discussion other than the policy committee meeting to review the policies and then placing them on the agenda for approval, just to allay any issues. I have not received any direct communication from any of you where there was a discussion outside of this meeting. If individual board members have questions, the time to ask is after the motion and the second.
Just to be clear, there will be a second reading? Okay. And is us reading it on our own, or is there a public reading of these policies? Like as a new board member, is it misleading?
So you don't read the policies aloud, if that's what you're asking. The entire packet is posted with the agenda. You all have it. If there are very specific questions you have about words or whatnot, ask them at a board meeting.
Okay, so can I motion to reopen?
Reopen what?
Reopen conversation on policy?
It's up to the board president.
Yes. Yes, you can.
Okay, well then I'd like to motion to reopen discussion on the policy changes.
Okay. Do we have to make a motion to do that?
I don't mind waiting for second reading, but I do have comments. Okay, so whatever.
We need to do it now or wait for second reading? Yep. So yes, James?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I apologize for the faux pas.
James made the motion. Mr. McCarthy made the motion, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry for missing my opportunity. I do also have some concerns with the policy. If I can also, a policy committee meeting with more than 2 members is supposed to be public or no?
Your policy committee is advisory only. It doesn't have the opportunity to take any action, so it does not need to be public.
Okay. So with policy 1110, the school board legal status, in the policy updates, we have when an individual Board of Education member receives an inquiry, the member will forward such inquiry to the board president and the superintendent for a response. It also says the board president shall be the spokesperson for the Board of Education. One thing I wanted to point out was that language appears to restrict trustees from acknowledging even those emails or routing concerns, and concentrates communication authority in administration. The blueprint document for better board operations, Section 2, page 4, correspondence addressed to the board should be directed to the district clerk, who's responsible for ensuring that all board members receive the same information. And then the board acts as a corporate body, and no individual member has authority to act independently of the board. All members should be equally informed of district matters. I think that that's something that should be up for discussion. I don't want to feel that I can't politely respond to a constituent parent and say that I have to send that to the board president and the superintendent. My opinion is that goes to the clerk, who then brings it out to everyone else. On top of that, the board president is absolutely the spokesperson for the board, but only for positions formally adopted by board vote. That's me on 1110. I don't know if anyone wanted to comment.
In that 1110 policy, I think the new changes indicates that when an individual Board of Education member receives an inquiry directed from a staff member, parent/person in parental relation, or a student requiring action, the Board of Education member will forward such inquiry to the Board of Education president and the superintendent of schools for a response. So I guess to comment on what you said, I'm wondering what that specific language means where we wrote requiring action.
So it's exactly what Mr. Ricard said. Obviously, you're all community members, you shop, you have the ability, you interact with the community. So if there's something that requires action, you need to send it to the people who can take that action. You as individual board members don't have the ability to do that. And that's why we added, the committee added the language requiring action.
I just want to be clear on what that, could you give an example of what an action is? An action, a
I'll
conversation?
give you an example. So the other day, a community member approached me and asked if we could put clearer signs at Roosevelt because they were noticing that people didn't realize it was a one-way at dismissal, and it was very dangerous. And there was cars parked on both sides, and somebody was going to get hit over there. So I took that recommendation and brought that to Dr. Yanni and Maureen to see if they could do something about that. And then I had mentioned it also at our board meeting. So my response was, I will let them know, but that obviously required an action that was beyond me as an individual community member. So I think what we're supposed to do is to take back the community concerns to the appropriate, to superintendent, to the board for discussion. I think that's what the purpose of, at least my understanding when we're talking about it in the policy committee, if something requires an action.
Thank you.
Okay. Policy 1510, board meetings, specifically says the planning and development of the agenda is the responsibility of the superintendent in consultation with the board president. I feel that this centralizes control. It could omit trustee-initiated items. And the blueprint document, again, says the board president and the superintendent jointly prepare the agenda. Any member may request that an item be placed on it within the posting time frame. You know, I know we've talked a little bit about timeframes, you know, posting, and there's a change coming to Thursdays versus Fridays. I think that the agenda planning needs to remain a joint responsibility of the board president and the superintendent. I also think that with the time between agenda items and board meetings, I believe that any two trustees should be allowed to place an item on board business on the agenda by notifying everybody at least 48 hours before the agenda is posted for public review. So that's what I have to say on 1510, is that I think that it needs to intentionally continue to reflect the board president and superintendent jointly, and not you know, that it's the responsibility of the superintendent in consultation with the board president. I think that kind of changes the dynamics a little bit, and I just want to be careful of that. Any? Okay. If no one has anything about that, the last thing is the policy 8440 on field trips. As a audience member, I witnessed you know, different teams not being able to travel distances, and I can appreciate us removing the 550 miles restriction on it. We're trying to do the best that we can for all of our students, and by removing that restriction, we are allowing them to compete more broadly. The only call out to that policy is that I think that part of the policy, you know, planning should include reasonable accommodations so students with disabilities can participate. I think that should be in there, because I know it's the rule of law, but I like the idea of it's literally being in here in field trips and excursions, is that planning will include reasonable accommodations so students with disabilities can participate, unless participation would fundamentally alter the trip or impose a documented undue hardship. It just recommits our intention for all of our students to be in an inclusive environment, and make sure that if we are going somewhere that will be difficult for a student with disabilities, that we look at every possible angle to make sure that they are included. And while we already do that, I think the intentional language would be a great addition to that. That's everything I've got for tonight.
Mr. Ricard, just a note for you, there is another policy that addresses students with disabilities, and there is language in that policy concerning field trips. I'm happy to add a cross-reference so that there is that cross-reference for anybody who's looking for that language.
That would be great.
And if I could add back to 1510, the language that's being added says the superintendent of schools will include the request on the agenda for discussion and for a determination as to whether a majority of the Board of Education requires such report. So I appreciate that. My understanding of that is any item that a trustee wants to be on the agenda will be placed on the agenda, and we'll be able to discuss that at a meeting. And that's correct, right? Thank you.
Any other discussion, comments?
No, I have nothing else to add.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Any other comments?
Just with respect to Mr. Ricard's comment on the agenda, I need to know how the whole board feels in terms of modifying the section on page 4. Right now, the first sentence reads, the superintendent of schools will prepare the meeting agenda during the week before the meeting and review it with the Board of Education president. Mr. Ricard, I'm going to speak for you, and you tell me if I got this wrong. I believe Mr. Ricard would like to revise that language to say the superintendent of schools, in conjunction with the Board of Education president, will prepare the meeting agenda during the blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
Okay. And board, does the board want me to modify the language to reflect that comment? Yeah. No. It's not your policy.
So,
It's
board
their
members,
policy.
I'm not getting the distinction. What's the distinction?
The distinction is that Dr. Yanni doesn't prepare the agenda on his own, he prepares it in conjunction with the board president.
Yeah, I mean, he does do that.
He ultimately, I think that's what happens anyway, but I think Mr. Ricard is just looking for the language to reflect that.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, that's
the
fine.
practice right now.
Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah,
confused.
yeah.
We do that now.
Yep.
Okay,
And that's
okay.
existing language in this policy that was not modified. Mr.
Okay.
Ricard, you also had another comment in this section, which I couldn't write more quickly enough. I think the policy permits board members to submit requests to place matters on the agenda. It doesn't have a time frame within which to do that. Are you suggesting that I add a time frame to that for the second reading?
So I don't have it in my notes, but I thought there was a time frame in there. Maybe it was any which way. If that doesn't exist, then it doesn't exist. I do believe that there should be some time period where not just an individual board member, but two board members, if we need something on the agenda. My concern is, that the blueprint, NISBA, recommends that all this information is available to us on Wednesday night. It's not. It's not available till Thursday, which is our policy. It's the way we do things. But by getting it Friday night and having a meeting on Tuesday, there's not enough time to really react. So my recommendation was to put the two board members at 48 hours to be able to get something added. Because language elsewhere was that we would bring it up to get put on the agenda, and then it would go through a process. And from a Friday night release to a Tuesday meeting, I didn't think there was enough time to process that. And at that point, we get pushed off to the following board meeting. But if that language doesn't exist, and I'm seeing a ghost of something, then that's fine. But I do think that 48-hour ability to add something to the agenda in an emergency situation with two board members in agreement, I think, and it's not that you wouldn't put it on there. I just like the language in there. So that's my recommendation, is that 48 hours, any two board members can insist that an agenda item get added to the agenda. That's something for bigger discussion. And quite frankly, I thought that the policy committees were different than what they are. So I thought that there would be an announcement. I knew that as a member on the not the policy committee, that I would be able to go to a publicly announced policy committee, go and at least observe, to then follow up through individual email to board president or to the entire board through the clerk. So yeah, I think I lost myself.
It's okay. It's advisory only, so that's why
And you
we
said that
bring the
earlier.
policies as red lines. You may
I
need-
just want to remind that on Friday update we receive every Friday from the superintendent, it specifically says that if there are agenda items that you would like to add.
Right,
Right. So
but the board meeting's on
we're all-
Tuesday.
We're all given the opportunity.
Right, you're given a business day.
No,
You're giving us a business
even
day.
the Friday before that. So every Friday, we get a packet, and the superintendent will say, the agenda meeting is on Thursday. Please provide any agenda items you would like to add to the agenda. So it's the Friday before. It's actually like a week and a half before the board meeting, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we can come back to that if I'm wrong, if I made a mistake. I'm fine with that.
And just for the rest of the board, the blueprint that NISBA put out is a guide, and every board makes their own decisions in terms of those timeframes.
Sure.
So
It's just a guide.
Yeah, but it's an important guide.
And so I just want to confirm that the board members were okay with Ms. Sadowski changing that sentence on page 4, that the superintendent of schools in conjunction with the board president, right, would be setting the agenda, which is what currently occurs. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, thank you all. Any other discussion points, Mr. Ricard, Mr. Kopaz? No? Okay. Sorry, I lost my place. Yep. So now I'd like to have a motion to convene to executive session for the purpose of discussing a matter of personnel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for attending our meeting.